You know, is it tough to breathe in Colorado? Do we get all four seasons in Colorado? Does it snow a lot in Colorado? Are there wild animals in Colorado? You know, if you're thinking about relocating to Colorado, especially the Colorado suburbs like Highlands Ranch, well, here are some things you need to know so you don't regret moving to Colorado. You know, I myself moved here from the East Coast, and boy, there were a bunch of things I needed to know. So let's talk about some of the things you're going to need to know, especially if you come from the East Coast, the Southeast, or even California or Texas. 5280. It's a thing. It's actually the 5,280 feet Denver sits above sea level. In fact, the 13th step of the state capital sits 1 mile above sea level. And Highlands Ranch, where I'm located, actually sits at 5,932 feet above sea level. So get used to that. 5280, there's meetups if you're new to the area and you want to meet up with some people. Mile High Magazine is called 5280. And if you're into basketball and you're watching the Nuggets, that 0825 below the foul line that you see from the stands actually looks like 5280 from the shooter's perspective, reminding our visiting teams that they are a mile above sea level. But the mile or mile plus above sea level that you are if you move here means you have to know a few things to help you survive. One, you're at altitude, and it can mess with you if you're not careful. Yep, you'll see the t-shirts that say got oxygen. That's because the air is thinner up here at altitude. Headaches, tiredness, dizziness, nausea, shortness of breath, all real, and if ignored, can end you up in the hospital, just like what happened to my father-in-law. One of the best ways to combat this is to have a lot of this, right? You'll see a lot of people carrying around one of these wherever they go in Colorado. They have them in their car. They have them in their backpacks when they're hiking. They have them on their bikes when they're cycling. They even have them when they're skiing, and they even have water bottles for their dogs. Drinking lots of water really alleviates a lot of the altitude issues because unfortunately, and this is my old exercise physiologist coming to me, human beings don't register thirst like our four-legged friends do. A lot of times when you're feeling thirsty, you're mistaking it for hunger. So keep water nearby within easy reach and you can sip it continually throughout the day, no matter what you're doing. It'll really help. Whether you're visiting or coming to live here, just remember these are good friends to have. The second one, cheers, is you might become a cheap date if you move up here. Yep, drinking at altitude means you usually don't need as much as you do at sea level to make you feel happy. Yeah, wine makes me happy. In fact, I love going back home because a lot of my family lives at sea level, and boy, I can actually enjoy a few of these glasses and not feel tipsy or lightheaded as I do when I'm up here at altitude. And remember, again, this is drinking, it's dehydrating, it's alcohol. So you're going to have to limit how much of this you have and keep this handy. Colorado and the Denver metro area has a lot to offer. I don't want anything to happen to you. Next thing to be aware of is because we do live at altitude, it's very dry up here. We don't have rainforests. For those of us that live here, we keep a lot of this handy. I personally love to go see family in Florida because all of these, they just disappear when I'm in the southeast on the coast with those balmy breezes coming off the ocean. Yep, my wrinkles fade away. Unfortunately, here at altitude, we don't have a lot of moisture in the air and we don't get a lot of rain. We only get about 17 inches per year. So you can ditch the raincoat, but you better buy a lot of these so you don't end up looking like one of these. Have it handy because you're going to need it year-round for your hands, your face, your skin, especially if you like to hike or ski. Remember, the Denver metro area really is high desert, sitting a mile above sea level. And if you head to the mountains, you're going to go higher than that. Now, since we sit 1 mile above sea level, it's very dry up here. It's also very sunny. So along with all that lotion, you're also going to need some of this year-round. In fact, there's a joke that we have more sunshine than Florida, and we really do have a lot of days of the year that are sunny, even those days that start out a little cloudy and end up sunny by the end of the day. Then you add to that the reflective qualities of sunshine off the snow or off the water on the reservoirs or off the water in the rivers or the glare from the roads and other cars. Add altitude to that and you're a perfect candidate for a sunburn, a really nice sunburn. And along with that sunscreen, you're going to need some lip balm to keep them from getting cracked, and you're also going to need sunglasses. You know, as a population, when you look across the country, we're fairly healthy and fairly active, so you're going to need sunglasses for driving If you cycle, you're going to need a pair of these. If you like to ski, you're going to need a pair of those. And if you swim, don't forget a pair of these, because you really want to protect these. And again, being at altitude with the sun reflecting off the water and the snow, it can lead to what my eye doctor told me was macular degeneration. Luckily, I'm good. My report came through great, but I do have friends that have it or are developing it. So again, be careful out there. And one of the best ways to do that is to protect your eyes. And if you take your dogs with you, like I take Elton here, I even got a pair for him. And talking about Elton, if you do have one of these, and by that I mean a small dog, and you think one of these is going to help you, you might be surprised to learn that we have a lot of, how do I put this, wildlife. We have owls, eagles, hawks, foxes, coyotes, mountain lions, bobcats, raccoons, and probably some other things I haven't mentioned. And the reality is, one of these, is just a meal waiting to happen. It might be good if you had a harness and an extend a lead. I find these work really well, and especially in situations where you have to pull the dog back to safety. It allows you to keep them under control at all times. And the good news is we have dedicated dog parks where if you've got bigger dogs or you want them to run free, you can do that. But a lot of our trails here, whether within Highlands Ranch or along the Platte River, or even in one of our state parks like Chatfield, those trails are shared with our local wildlife. It's one of the things that makes living here in Colorado so absolutely wonderful. But it does mean that you have to be careful, because remember, I want you to have fun. I don't want anything to happen to you or your furry friend. Now, I may have mentioned that we have seasons. In fact, we do. We have all 4 of them: spring, summer, fall, and winter. And what I didn't mention was sometimes we get them all in one day. Yep, we do, sometimes. So during our spring and fall months, you may find yourself packing the car, because you may start the morning out dressed like this, and you may end up the day in cycling shorts riding one of the bike trails and enjoying a balmy afternoon. And for those of you worried about a lot of snow in Colorado, quite honestly, especially in the Denver metro area, because of global warming, we don't seem to get a lot these days. In fact, the last massive storm was several years ago. Most of the time, if we get snow, it's light down here in the Denver metro area, and it melts very quickly when the sun comes out because of our dryness, and again, that high altitude that we're at. So if you like to ski, it's perfect, because the snow stays in the mountains, or in the mountain towns, which are much higher up than we are. And that brings me to another point. You might consider 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicles if you're thinking about living here, because we do have winter weather, and it does help get around a lot easier, especially if you like to take advantage of all of our outdoor activities. You'll also hear about blue days and red days, and no, it has nothing to do with the election or what party you're affiliated with. It has to do with indoor burning restrictions. You know, there's nothing nicer in the fall or winter than to have a cozy fire going in the fireplace. But if your fireplace is still wood burning and not gas, then you really have to watch for air quality action days from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. Red days are when there's a temperature inversion or still air that traps pollutants. You can't use most fireplaces on those days. Blue days are when the skies are clear and you can burn your wood-burning fireplaces. These burning restrictions are in place each year from November to March, and this is really something for older homes. Most newer homes have gas-burning fireplaces, and in fact, a lot of people have replaced their wood-burning fireplaces with gas fireplace inserts. But it's just something to be aware of again, because I want you to have fun and enjoy yourself. I hope you enjoyed these tips about living in Colorado. I wish I had known some of these things when I relocated to Colorado, especially the Colorado suburbs. Hi, my name is Peggy Dursthoff of Live Denver Suburbs. I'm a realtor with HomeSmart, and you guessed it, I focus on suburban living. And if you're thinking about relocating to Colorado, let's connect. I'd love to hear what your plans are and answer any questions you might have about what living here is like, so you don't regret moving to Colorado. All my information is down in the description box below this video. In the meantime, if you like this video, check out this next one over here where I talk about what to look for when buying a house. Thank you for watching, and remember, friends don't let friends rent.